Welcome back to This Day in Scottish History. I'm your host, Colin MacDonald. Today, we reflect on one of the most sombre chapters in Scotland's sporting past. On January 2nd, 1971, tragedy struck at Ibrox Park, the home of Rangers Football Club in Glasgow, when a crushing disaster claimed the lives of 66 fans and injured more than 200 others. This heartbreaking event left a profound mark not only on Scottish football but on the nation as a whole. It was a cold, wintry day in Glasgow as thousands of football supporters gathered for the Old Firm Derby, the legendary clash between Rangers and Celtic. With over 80,000 fans in attendance, the atmosphere was electric. The rivalry between the two clubs is one of the fiercest in world football, and the stakes for supporters are always sky high. The game itself was a tightly contested affair. As the match neared its end, Celtic took the lead with a late goal in the 89th minute, seemingly clinching victory. However, in a dramatic turn of events, Rangers equalised in the dying moments of the match, sending the home fans in a frenzy. With the final whistle signalling a 1-1 draw, emotions were running high as fans began to make their way out of the stadium. It was on Stairway 13, one of the main exits from the ground, where the tragedy unfolded. The stairway was notoriously steep and narrow, and concerns about its safety had been raised on several occasions in the years prior. Some fans had begun leaving early to avoid the post-match rush, but others surged toward the exit following Rangers' last-minute equalizer. Reports suggest that a fall or stumble near the base of the stairway triggered a catastrophic chain reaction. The momentum of the tightly packed crowd made it impossible to stop, and fans began to pile on top of each other. Within moments, the weight and pressure of the crush became unbearable. Those trapped in the chaos suffered severe injuries, and many were unable to breathe under the sheer force of the crowd. When the dust settled, the scale of the disaster became horrifyingly clear. 66 people lost their lives, including many children and young people. The youngest victim was just 9 years old. Over 200 others sustained injuries, some of them life-altering. The tragedy sent shockwaves through Glasgow, Scotland, and the wider footballing world. This was not the first incident on Stairway 13. In 1961, 2 fans were killed in a similar crush, and other smaller incidents had occurred in the years that followed. Yet the 1971 disaster was unparalleled in its scale and consequences, forcing a long overdue reckoning with stadium safety. The response to the tragedy was immediate and heartfelt. Memorial services were held across the country, and tributes poured in from football clubs and fans around the world. For Rangers Football Club, the pain was immeasurable, but the support they received transcended rivalries. Celtic, Rangers' fiercest opponents, joined in mourning and solidarity, showing that football has the power to unite even in the darkest of times. In the aftermath, an inquiry was launched to investigate the causes of the disaster and to recommend measures to prevent such tragedies in the future. At Ibrox, extensive renovations were undertaken to improve safety, including the replacement of terraces with seated areas and the redesign of key access points like Stairway 13. These changes came at a significant cost, but marked a turning point in the modernisation of football stadiums in Scotland and beyond. A memorial now stands outside Ibrox Stadium, inscribed with the names of the 66 victims. Each year, Rangers and their supporters pay tribute to those who lost their lives, ensuring that their memory is honoured and the lessons of the tragedy are never forgotten. The disaster also serves as a stark reminder of the importance of prioritising fan safety in a sport that unites millions across the globe. As we remember the events of January 2nd, 1971, let us pause to reflect on the fragility of life and the profound impact of shared grief. The Ibrox disaster is a story of heartbreak, but also of resilience as the footballing community came together to mourn, heal, and ensure that such a tragedy would not be repeated. Thank you for joining me on this reflective episode of This Day in Scottish History. I'll be back tomorrow with another story from Scotland's rich and varied past. Until then, I'm Colin MacDonald. Haste you back.